I do believe we are live. Oh, goodness, too much. A little bit. There we go. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining me again, and in doing so, for influencing both my life and your own. Thank you for allowing me to, in my own way, influence yours. Know that I take that very seriously. I take it as a great responsibility. And it is something that I want to talk about today, about the influence we have as people on each other. I had a moment today where I recognized again what is important to so many of us, right? And it is influence on a higher dimensional level, but on a lower dimensional level, it is inspiration, it is encouragement, it is hope, it is a sense of growth, a sense of continuing forward. I found myself today going down this whole rabbit hole of wanting things to be okay, you know? How there is this want for equilibrium inside of ourselves, and there is this active pursuing of this equilibrium. And then at the same time, there is this reaching of this equilibrium and wanting for this equilibrium to remain. And then in that wanting for it to remain, there is change, right? Inevitably. And then that equilibrium ceases to exist. And then we find ourselves again pursuing this goal that is the ideal in our own minds. And I've been asking myself questions about what I think that is. And the way that it's manifested is in talking to myself about the people that I meet cyclically in my life, at festivals or at events, at venues. Oh yeah, I forgot that there's bugs falling from this tree. And even though there is this acknowledgement and recognition of this same person, if you will, time after time after time, there is also in the same breath an acknowledgement of the continuation of existence of all of us as individuals. What am I trying to say by that? I'm trying to say that despite there being differences in the quality of lives that we're living, in the socio-economic status of us as individuals, there is this perpetuation of our existence that is, in a way, the only thing that's important. And it makes me question. It makes me question about what it is I need, how much it is I need, and what I'm being influenced by. How the things I'm being influenced by is changing the way I'm approaching the world, and whether or not it is good to be influenced in these ways. Because I think all of us are going to be influenced one way or another. But I would like to be influenced into a positive future. And it's this juxtaposition of I am being influenced into believing I can have a positive future. If I do certain things, if I take certain steps, if I create value in people's lives in a certain way. But at the same time, there is no guarantee that that is necessarily how it will end up happening. And then I find myself asking this question about influence, about how much we need, about how important it is, about maybe acknowledging the fact that all of us have some of it. All of us have influence. All of us use it differently. Some of us don't use it at all. And that influences people too. Whew, it is hot. Hey, Louisiana. Seeing a melt, just like a man, eh? I missed some of the context, but I'm going to read some of it now. Sam is here too, saying, King Solomon once said, "'Tis good that you grasp one thing while not letting go of the other. But he also seemed to imply in his electrical nihilism that there are very few actual needs in life. It's true. I don't think I'm on King Solomon's level just yet. You know, I don't know if I want to get on that level. 700 wives. It seems a little bit excessive. But realistically speaking, all of us do live quite opulent lives. Even if it's not stacked with abundance in the way that I might want it to be. Specifically when it comes to the freedoms I can afford myself. A king 2,000 years ago would swap places instantly with me if he knew my life. If he knew that I had access to on-demand hot water when I wanted it. On-demand water when I wanted it. On-demand energy that is generated non-locally and transported like over who knows how many miles, kilometers to reach me. Knowing that I have technology that can capture my voice, my image, not only as a painting, but actively as iterations of myself. The influence that allows me to say it in so many words. And we're by no means that influential. At least I don't consider myself that influential. Maybe I should stop. Maybe I should stop not considering myself influential. Maybe that's one thing that would be good to come to some point of acknowledgement in today's stream as well, right? Because today's stream is an acknowledgement of the influence that all of us have as people. Acknowledging that you do have influence, right? That your influence matters. Matters greatly. You will influence people, and that's something that you need to take responsibility for. Just like a man, eh? Es ecclesiastical. Ecclesiastical? Ecclesiastical? Yeah. Yes. If I'm paid enough, Mojo. Mojo said something that I didn't miss. Yay! Astical? If I'm paid enough, nice. Yeah. So easy, Astical. Stop tickling my ass right now. Stop it. Stop it. Or I'm gonna get up and leave. Stop that. Jeez. It is hot today. Feels like 43 degrees Celsius. Really is 38 degrees Celsius. So actual temperature, like 104 Celsius, 104 Fahrenheit, feels like 110 Fahrenheit. Feels like, checks out. It's hot right now, yo. It's a good thing I'm in shade. It's a good thing I'm leaning against this tree. Being supported by a tree is nice. I feel like this space has been healing me little by little. The fact that I can be here. It's strange that ever since I got my microphones, the wind has been really tame to the point where I wouldn't have needed them necessarily. Still so happy to have them. I can speak really softly. So softly, and you can still hear me. Right? Right? A quail landed in that tree as I started my stream. Was at first on a lower branch, really paying attention to me. I could feel those eyes. That side-headedness. I'm melting. Have I already said all I wanted to say? I don't think so. Today's stream topic was influenced in part by two people. Like, as I say that, it was influenced by many more than just two people. But two people, at least immediately, made up a big part of this influence. One is Liam, a friend of mine here in South Africa, and the other is Danny, to be friend, now is client of mine. and the consider influence. It was Liam who originally set this snowball in motion in my mind when it comes to considering the influence I have, because me and Liam have known each other for about a year and a half now. And it's been like a knowing of each other, not a knowing each other relationship. I met him at last year's White Rabbit with Adam. And he mentioned to me that during that weekend, me and Adam, in our lightheartedness, in our spirit of community and of being friendly, being kind to the people we have in our lives, made his experience better, influenced him in a way where, in his words to me, he had to acknowledge and recognize the amount of influence we as people, we as ordinary people, have on each other's lives. And that I had a significant influence, a significant impact on the way that he approached his relationships from that interaction forward. And for a year and a half to have passed, and for me to have a conversation with him, and Jovan was there for this conversation, for us to have this conversation and for him to acknowledge this influence that I've had on his life, and for me to acknowledge the influence that he has had on my life. He's a very frog-centric person. And since connecting with him and seeing the way that he adores frogs and frog memorabilia and paraphernalia, and maybe the paraphernalia is the right word, trinkets, if you will, memes, images, etc., made me appreciate frogs more in my world. Right? And I've had some appreciation for frogs pretty much my whole life. But ever since introducing this character, this soul, this individual into my world, he has influenced me for the better, for the frogs, in such a simple way, right? The frog aspect, not the influence aspect. We have the ability to change the way people see the world, quite literally. You, friends, have changed the way that I see the world. You have changed the way that I want to see the world, and you have changed the way that I want to present the world to you, for you to see the world in a way that you have allowed me to see the world. You know? You see what I'm saying? You do? Of course you do. I'm going to unlock my chat again. Read what you friends have to say. Oh, Jovan! Jovan gave us 5 memberships. Thank you, Joe. That's so nice of you. I love you so much. Please. I like how you said to be friend. Sometimes you just know. Sometimes you do it right. I think these are one of those moments. Good morning to you, Pocho. It's nice having you, bro. Hey, Red Ray and Two Shot Veka. I haven't seen those names in a while, but they're members now. Congratulations. I don't know if they're tuning in to come and see these notifications, but bless you, friends. Thank you, Joe, for gifting us memberships. I've met people like that. Like, no matter where you guys are at the moment, you can feel that friendship happening in the future already. Yeah. For me, it's usually a matter of progress, right? I am very keen, I say egotistically. I pay attention to things, or at least I'd like to believe I do. And in that paying attention of things, and of circumstance, and of people, I like to specifically see a will to progress, a will to growth, a will to upliftment, a will to seeing the future as not written, a will to make something of your own, right? Like that creative energy, that spirit of enthusiasm. I really like that, both in myself as a character trait, and it's something I think I have to actively maintain, But I also specifically like it in other people because it is so hard to maintain. And surrounding yourself with other people that have that same spirit makes it easier, I believe, at the very least. And this person, I can see, has that ambition of progress, of using the resources, the circumstances, the opportunities he's been allowed in life, and trying to make something of that instead of just sitting in it, right? And I guess there is some sort of catharsis, some sort of satisfaction to be gained in sitting in abundance. But there's also, at least in my mind, a saturation point. Right? You can only meditate mindfully for so long till you want to go and apply some of that knowledge. To say it in so many words, I feel like I'm getting sunburnt, even though I'm in the shade. Leave me alone, son. Leave me alone, bro. Jesse, dude, you're hurting me. I didn't put sunscreen on my legs and this hole in my holes in my pants. Howdy, folks. Just a flyby visit to spread the love. Love you, Fit. Thank you for joining us, bro. There's more little mites falling on my screen, but I'm trying to shove lots of information into my brain, so unfortunately I can't stay. I get it, bro. Good luck with your information force feed. I'll be ruining all that effort tonight with a bottle of red, though, for balance. I don't know what I'm supposed to say about stuff like that, right? Because my mind so viscerally disagrees with that sentiment, like aggressively disagrees, like like to a point of dictatorship disagrees. What am I saying? I'm like, bro, why would you do that to yourself? It should be illegal. It should be illegal for people to drink themselves into oblivion. All right? Don't tell people what to do if their own bodies melt. Fine. Fine. I guess I can't do that. But stop drinking, please. Like I had this conversation so many times. If humanity collectively stopped drinking and put all of the logistical chains, all of the fabrication, all of the marketing, advertising budget, all of the actual human time lost, all of the mental infrastructure, all of the actual brain damage, right? Alcohol does actual brain damage. If we had to just like remove that element from our society, what would we have made of ourselves already? How much of a weight, how much of chains is the alcohol industry on our species? And I hope that 50 years from now we'll look back at this time of our lives and be like, oh, you see, like we fucked up a little bit in some ways, didn't we? We should have done things better. 3D animation, yeah, it takes like 10. If you're doing 3D animation, you should be eating Alice. I should stop. I should stop. You should not be drinking though. I don't know if the corporate overlords like hearing that stuff though. Drink good. Drink all beer. Drink good for you. Drink make happy. You know, for balance. For algorithm balance. We didn't have a practice this week, but we're going to get a win out of these red pandas. I'm looking forward to you coming and sharing the good news with us. These little buggerinos. The red pandas are the only soccer team I cheer for. Nice. Disagree with what? Disagree with ruining your efforts with a bottle of red. Like that sounds just like reading that sentence hurts my mind. Today's stream topic is about influence. Right? Like that stuff does influence your life. Doing that to yourself over and over and over again. It influences things. Significantly so, even. Bless your heart, Melt. But if you think a bottle of red wine, oh, okay. Drinking my, I mean, again, unfortunately, alcohol is just bad for us, said Demon. Just plain bad. You know, there's zero redeeming qualities. Even in red wine, right? The amount of antioxidants, the amount of good we think we get from our red wines, unfortunately, is severely counterbalanced by the amount of alcohol we ingest. It doesn't care. It doesn't follow rules. That's the big thing. You know, all of the other substances that we actively partake within have like a certain rule set they follow. They have to bond with your body in a certain way. They have to like follow a certain chain, like steps. First this, then that, then so, then here. And then when it gets there, it does what it does, and then it gets removed from your system slowly but surely. Alcohol just kind of like does whatever it wants to, you know, on a metabolic level. It goes straight into your mitochondria if it wants to, right? Oh, what's in here? Fucks your cells up. Oh, what's here? Oh, what's this? Just like literally destroys things, melts them. They dissolve. They turn into goo. You know, and we do it to ourselves. I am pedantic about this. It's true. I'm sorry. You were just trying to share your plans with me, and now I'm being a buzzkill about it. But I have to. I'm sorry. I care about you too much, bro. Or broette. I care about you too much, friend. But I am a lightweight too, I think. I haven't drank in long enough to know whether or not I'm a lightweight or not. I try not to. You must have felt awesome to hear. What an honor. Oh, I think I missed your comment. You said, I had one of my players' moms stop me in public to tell me how good a job I'm doing at coaching, and the other teams comment on the sidelines that they wish they had a coach like me. That's so wholesome, bro. Bless you, Doc Dad. Small compliments like that really changes someone's day. It's true. That's some meaningful commentary right there. Knowing you're doing things right. Small compliments. Didn't you say before the alcohol helped human evolution? I'm pretty sure I didn't say that. I did say like psychedelics, which is different. Like alcohol originated from the use of psychedelics, right? We would store our psychedelics in honey, and then through that process, iteratively, we figured out that there is some sort of fermentation that happens if there is water introduced into that honey slash mushroom mixture. And then we discovered alcohol. And then we realized it's a lot easier to recreate the process of alcohol making than it is for us to harvest, find in our natural environment our psychedelic mushrooms. So we did evolve alongside these entheogens, these medicines for a very long time, and then we discovered alcohol kind of as an accident. And that accident has perpetuated. And if you look at our human history and you look at our collective psyche, the symptoms of a degraded society that we are facing right now is in large part because of our alcohol culture instead of having a psychedelic culture, right? But that's Terence McKenna wisdom, and it's something that I find myself believing more and more the more I pay attention to how things are. Also, you could say the same with you smoking weed. Smoke weed, make happy. Yes, true, but weed has actual anti-inflammatory properties, right? When you put cannabis oil on a wound, it accelerates the healing of that wound. When you put cannabis oil on cancer, it helps the fighting of that cancer. When you give cannabis oil to a person that has Parkinson's, it reduces their tremors. When you give cannabis to a cancer patient, it helps stimulate their appetite and reduce the amount of pain they experience. Right. So in all of these ways, and I can keep going into depth, in all of these ways, marijuana does serve as a medicine in our human experience, where alcohol, the only real medicinal value it offers is as a disinfectant, right? To literally kill things. So maybe it could like serve some sort of function of killing like germs to disinfect the wound before you try and close it. But It's not good to put inside our bodies in that way, unfortunately. It was a joke, Meld. Maybe take me less literally all the time. I am an autistic person, Fit. Like this has, and it has been at least, a real truth in my life, but has been established on this stream. I do take things very literally, right? Because in my mind, I'm reading, I'm reading things as they are. Sometimes I have to like stop and give myself more perspective. Otherwise, I'll have none. I always walked away to get my coffee. What happened in here? That Fit has his long underwear and a knot. No, I don't think it's Fit. It's more me. I'm the one with the knotted underwear. Nothing, Sam. Just getting judged by Melt. I'm not judging you. There's no judgment in my heart. There is me caring about my friend and wanting the best for them, right? That's not a judgment. At least not in my mind. Judgment in my mind is almost like reaching a conclusion about what and who you are, and then after that conclusion has been reached, feeling a certain way about that. Right? That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening in me. I'm not reaching a conclusion about you. If I had to try and judge you and reach a conclusion, it would go something like, "Why is this friend of mine putting this poison in their body and paying for that? Like, why is that happening?" And then the judgment would come in. Oh, we live in a society. This thing called alcohol is accessible. This thing called alcohol is promoted as a social lubricant, is uh, introduced to us from a very young age, has this certain alert to it where we're not allowed to do it because we're children, but our parents are doing it. So I can like start kind of like iterating in my mind, understanding to come to some sort of point of judgment. But that takes me time, right? It takes me time to do that, to judge you, which I'm not trying to do. I'm just trying to course correct, steer like we know better, right? Right? Don't we know better than to not do this? I'm not trying to judge you, friend. That's not my point. maybe, no, I don't think it's necessary. Well, you should like it since you want people to melt more. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But again, you're not melting more when you're drinking. You're melting away, right? Unfortunately, like it is just destructive. It only destroys things in your metabolic system. Destroys memories, destroys cell walls, destroys internal processes. Psychedelics, at least, give you information that you can then apply into your world, where alcohol does the opposite. It makes you lose information. And to some people, that's what they want. I get that too. Let us melt together in a swimming pool full of red wine. Are you supposed to drink it? Are you supposed to absorb the alcohol through your skin? Aren't we all going to come out of that wine pink? So many questions. Beer did jumpstart civilization. I saw a documentary on it. Again, it was a matter of figuring out processing. Like it was an accident, and then this accident led to us figuring out processing. But there is a very real change in the way we approach, in the way we see our world. Like there is a clear dissociation that happens in our species as soon as we start regularly consuming alcohol, right? Like you would have to be naive to not acknowledge the fact, to not realize that it has had an influence, keeping it today's stream topic relevant. Hey, gavity goo, you skibobs, skibbity bobbity boobs. It's nice having you, bro. Sending you love, man. Sam, it may have been you that said it to me. I just remember hearing or reading it here. Yeah, there we go. I wonder if it would turn my skin a magenta color. It probably would. Probably would. Me and you had the same idea, Pojo. Sam, is that because water made you sick or hard to access? That could be a part of it, yeah. And it's also like a value creation thing, right? Been missing your lovelies lately. It's nice having you here, Gavity Goo. We're always here for you, bro. We'll make it. We'll make it a thing. Whenever you feel like you miss us, we'll be right here to remind you of how loved you are. It's nice having you, bro. Sending you blessings. Whew. It really, stop, please. It really was awesome to hear. I hope Duckling wants to continue playing soccer, but if she doesn't, I think I want to coach anyway. Yeah, do it, bro. If it's something that serves your heart, I think it could be good for your process of growth as well. Hunter gatherers left bushels of hops out in the rain, came back to booze. Probably not like that. An ensuring trial period of the drunk ideas that came forth from our first buzz led to taxes and private insurance. Yeah, that part I do believe. That part I do believe. So ridiculous. No, wait, the Romans had the water thing down of aqueducts. True. Yes, but cannabis can also cause a psychotic break in people. It's not an unproblematic substance, and I say that as someone who vapes every day. I'm not trying to, really create like a spitting contest about which is a better, substance to be ingesting. But if we're going to create a spitting contest, we can just talk about the fatality rates. Hey Google, how many people are directly or indirectly killed by alcohol each year? Mm-mm-mm. So average alcohol attributed deaths. Oh, it is raised over the last 9 years by 20%. No, decreased by 20%. Good. Less people are dying. But still, estimates that there are more than 178,000 deaths per year. Oh my goodness, that is just in America. Oh my goodness. The worldwide number is 3 million. 3 million human beings will die in the next year because of alcohol, right? These are the statistics. Like, this is what we know. The number of like people that will die smoking joints is not going to even like come close to that, right? In fact, there has historically none. No people have died from smoking weed, but people are. Esophagus cancer, liver cancer, uh, driving and getting into fatal accidents. Like, people are actively dying from taking this substance, right? And it is worse for our society. It is, right? And we're paying, where it's influencing us. We're paying to be fucked up, right? That's the thing. Maybe that's the thing that gets me. Like, it kind of bothers me. It's like we're literally spending our hard-earned resources to influence ourselves negatively, and that negative influence will stay with us indefinitely, right? Maybe it won't always be noticeable in the same way, but doing that damage onto ourselves is, maybe I'm like a little bit stuck because we will be stepping into a society of like extreme medicines over the next few years. So maybe a lot of the damage we're doing to ourselves right now will be reversible. Yeah, that's something to hold on to. I'm holding on to that one. Hope. Nice. I'm really happy for you, Mikey. We all need that little confidence booster in our personal lives. I'm glad you found something that feeds that part of the spirit. Bless indeed. In the past, yes, Nan, water was very dirty and was typically only safe to drink when it was mixed with wine. Yeah, because it killed the germs, the alcohol content, that is. Reminds me of Cicily's Strong last night on SNL. She was playing Janine Pyro on Weekend Update and ended up climbing into a giant tank of red wine. Did she turn purple? So many fractals. Been missing you. Love you too, bro. Alcohol was allowed people to take long journeys to discover new lands by keeping the water purified through alcohol. Yeah, it did. Right? That's the function it served in our past. Now, since we're not doing that anymore, something needs to change. Right? Something needs to change. We need to stop consuming these things. We need to stop paying so much money. We need to stop spending so much in advertising. I don't know if it's gonna happen, right? I'm kind of talking to myself here. I'm talking to the universe. I'm screaming into the void about this nonsense. I don't know if anything is gonna come of it. I think it's more a matter of like each and every single one of our personal decisions, how we will apply this information in our lives. Right? You don't have to listen to me. Who am I? I'm just speaking about this. Today's stream topic is about influence, and it happened that the influence of alcohol came up as a point. And I'm happy that it did, because it's also important to consider. That's kind of the point of these streams, right? Whatever we find ourselves consciously evolving around just happens to be. What age were you diagnosed as being autistic? At a very young age, actually. My mom took me to a specialized doctor, and I got diagnosed with my autism, with dyslexia, and my attention deficit disorder. And it was kind of one of those things where it wasn't exactly, what's the word I'm looking for? Beneficial. It's not the right word. Almost like beneficial. Useful? No. Relevant? No. Advantageous. That's the word. It wasn't advantageous for that information to really be made available to my young child self. Because being autistic, especially in South Africa, was seen through a certain lens of stigma and was understood in a certain way, right? So the fact that I was this awkward, nonverbal kid as a young child, that's why my mom did take me to go and see this specialist. And the fact that I would rather be a creature. I would rather be this organism that makes sounds and runs around in my environment than I would sitting down and having a conversation with a person. That was not very well understood by my parents, right, at that age of my life. And when I got introduced to this understanding that I am somehow, hey, Gary Lee, thank you for the 555 energy. When I was introduced to this understanding that there are these things that are fundamentally different about the way my brain is wired, I took it as a challenge, right? I took the understanding of my dyslexia and my ADHD as an intention, right? I saw my social awkwardness not as a crutch, not as a disability, but as something to overcome. But I think that's also a part of my personality trait, right? I don't know if it's a part of the autism necessarily, but I am obsessed. I am. I get obsessed about things, and I feel like that obsession has served me well in some ways. I don't think it serves my rest well. I think it's probably going to make me gray before I'm supposed to turn gray, but it is part of my character trait, right? Suddenly, or on a whim, making something a part of your everyday life, and then continuing to do so for 1,381 days consecutively isn't exactly normal behavior. But that being said, I think if I was more normal, I wouldn't be myself. I wouldn't be in this position of influence. To bring it back to today's stream topic. No, 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 no. Was it during school years? Yeah, it was when I was grade 6. That's when my official tests came through. So when I was 12, which might have been even too late for them to properly do something about that. They did try and put me on medications, but the medications just made me to myself normal. And I didn't really find any value in being normal. So I discontinued taking those medications as well. I still have access to them. I still have my prescriptions, but now it's more like I take this thing because I can, because I want to, almost, right? Almost like a test. You have to write this test, so you study the materials that you've been given so that you can do the thing that the test requires. That's the way that I see ADHD medication and stuff right now in my life. hmm How do you feel about the fact, Doug, in light of the fact that IPAs were invented by the Brits So they could get trashed while they were harassing the Indian subcontinent. Alcohol is addictive, so once that happens, yeah, it's also in a way a mild psychedelic, right? But it's a downer psychedelic in that way, like a dissociative. Sam, British IPA sucks. British hops suck. That's why they have to put them in strong flavor beers like porters. Regarding shock about alcohol related deaths, Rule 34A, if it exists, humans will abuse it, is a fact of life. People hardly abuse psychedelics. Some people try, but the psychedelics puts like hand on shoulder and goes like, "Hey, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing there, bro?" The psychedelics will do that, right? And I don't know. I know many people who have tried to abuse psychedelics and they fail. But I know many people that abuse alcohol and they succeed at it, right? They're very good at abusing it. They're like so good at it that they lose everything in the pursuit of abusing the substance. I smoked a blunt one time and coughed so hard that I hit my head on a table and knocked myself out. I'm sure at least one person has died from smoking, lol. But that's how they would die. And like one person in a million would die. Some sort of freak accident where people are actively dying. 3 million. Can you fathom how many people 3 million people are? Like, I don't think most of us can really picture 3 million human beings. And by the end of this year, they'll be dead. They will have died from this substance. And we're selling it to people, by the truckload. We're advertising it to children indirectly because children also have eyes. That's the part that I'm kind of like, what the fuck, humanity? Why are we doing this? And I came from a world where drinking is all there is to do, right? So I'm not like, oh, I never had a beer in my life and I'm so much better. No, no. I was also brain damaged into thinking this is normal. This is fine. This is something we do, but we shouldn't. We should stop. We should figure out a way to do something else. That's all I'm saying. I'm being pedantic about that part. I can't be the only one. Love you all. Gotta go get those pandas. Aren't going to waggle themselves. Bless you, bro. 3 million out of 8 billion isn't that much. That many people will die to hunger. Yes, that's the point I'm making, Duck Dad. If we channel the resources that people will use to kill themselves with alcohol, into something else, right? Like feeding the 3 million people that will die of starvation, that would be a net good for our species. And if we can start applying that kind of logic in our lives, in our society, maybe we can look forward to a future instead of losing 3 million people to alcohol. Yeah, 9 million to hunger. I think the amount of people that will drink themselves into death, that amount of resources should be enough to feed 9 million people. Checks out to me. Like the amount of money that's going to be spent on like medical bills to fight liver disease and esophageal cancer. Who knows, right? How much money there will be extra in our society. More than enough to feed those 9 million hungry people. Joe just can't fathom an amount of cannabis that will simultaneously be enough to inspire death, bringing acts of stupidity, but not also cause permanent couch lock. Especially if they smoke first. Sam, yeah. Maybe they jump off a building because they think they can fly. Again, these things can happen to sober people as well, right? And they do all the time. Sober people commit suicide, right? Like, I don't even want to know the statistic on how many people are just killing themselves. Never mind even using alcohol as their way to that extent. Or what kind of weed do you get that is fully suppressing reality? I want some. People are idiots, and survival instincts aren't always present in people. They are present in most, right? Like, we're not seeing billions of human beings die every year, like as a statistic. So there is like some sort of survival mechanism underplaying. People are staying alive for the most part. We're dying in silly ways, and we're dying in preventable ways. And it's a matter of influence, right? Who knows if this conversation, me having this conversation with you, will have any impact, will have any influence on your life and your decisions. But we have had this conversation, and I feel good about it. It's good. Meld, how old were you when you started to talk? Mm, I don't really have that information on hand. I can ask my mom. Mama. Hallo mamma. Mense vra, hoe oud was ek gewees toe ek begin praat het? I can speak 2 languages too. How about that? I don't know if that's helpful. Is it helpful that I can speak 2 languages? It's helpful to the people that speak my second language. It is awkward sometimes though, because I end up talking to many Afrikaans people and I just speak English to them. And they kind of meet me halfway. They'll start speaking English to me too. And then eventually they'll realize that I'm Afrikaans, and then they'll have this whole moment of questioning of like, why are we speaking English to each other? And I'm like, because Rob is here saying, wow, Mel, great to see you're still posting. Haven't checked in since Reddit. Proud of you, Pork Frogger. Rob, bro, here we are. Yeah, we've been going consecutively. We haven't stopped. Life has changed many times over. Many things have come into my life that have given me more to think about, more to look forward to. The influence we've been allowed to have on other people's life has seemed to only grow. Thank you, Rob, for being here. Like, it feels like extra synchronous in my mind that you're here to, in your own way, be influenced. For you to influence me, to think about a friend that I've only tuned in since the RPAN days, and that was 2 years ago? It's like 3 years ago now? It's wild. Bless you. It's nice having you here again. We all got that radioactive stuff around here. Bless again, Gary. Thank you, bro. You need to really trust your dealers here. Too many foreign substances are in the buds that flow freely. You really need to be in close proximity of the crop growers. Yeah, that's also something else, that I stand marijuana for, where I wouldn't beer or any sort of alcohol drink, because you also don't know where that stuff's coming from, really, right? You don't know the hands that have been involved, you don't know the truck drivers. But with this plant, you can have this little seed, you can put it in the ground, you can nurture it, and then you can get something off of that can give you an experience. Like, that immediacy, that direct relationship with this plant is something that also in my mind is better for our collective souls than drinking something from a bottle and then throwing that bottle in the trash, or as some people do. Let me show you something. I'm reaching down, right? No more than an arm's length away, and I can pick up things like this, where people threw their glass bottles onto these rocks. Why would you do something like that? Like, actually, why would you do something like that? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. Other than they were drunk, as a response, as a reasoning. And that to me feels almost unfathomable. Yeah, very much so. True Joe would love to grow my own. Yeah, so ridiculous that you risk severe punishment for nurturing a plant. It really is. It never stops. Ebb and flow. Keep speaking the truth. Much love, brother. Much love to you, Rob. Thank you for joining us for a moment, friend. Melty seems like the kid that never stopped talking. I know, because I was that kid too. It did end up like that, right? It started as the kid who didn't know what to say, couldn't say anything, didn't feel understood by the peers, to realizing that this kid can give information that to some at least were valuable. And then it was like an obsession of for this thing to be liked by this world, it needs to be in a certain way. And one of those ways that my young child self identified it needs to be is sociable. Sociable sociable, communicative, you know, someone who actually has the ability to communicate and articulate their most inner desires. And it became a challenge. I started reading books about it. I literally, and I don't know if I'm proud of this, but I literally approach my social interactions like a scientist, experimenting on people, being like, I'm gonna say these things to these persons and see how they respond. And then I would take take note and be like, noted. They like it when I say these things. Right? And that is how my 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year old self really almost like integrated as a person. I also became very depressed during that time of my life because it felt very absurd. It felt like my ability to succeed and to be liked was reducible to a matter of to a series of actions. And even though the autistic part of myself appreciated that because I knew that I could take these actions, the spirit part of myself felt very unmotivated by that as a way of living. Didn't feel very inspired by just doing what I'm supposed to say it in so many words. I still worry about that, you know, that I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to. According to society, I'm supposed to be a chemical engineer. When I went through all of these tests for my TISMs and for my ADHD and for my dyslexia, I also went through proficiency tests. And these were actively, we do two of them. We do one test when we're 13, and then we do one test when we're 18 or not, or 17 when we're in the process of finishing our high school. And both of those tests clearly indicated that I'm supposed to be a chemical engineer. And I would have enjoyed that. I would have. That would have been great fun, I'm sure, if I could actually experiment and if I could actually continue to make new novel chemicals. Right. I would have loved that. But that's usually not how it is as an engineer. At least in this iteration of the world we're in right now, engineers usually serve some sort of function. They influence a system, and the influence they apply onto the system is of utmost importance, and they are awarded sufficiently for this effort. But at the same time, knowing who I am and what I need from this life, I wouldn't have found satisfaction in that level of influence. I would have felt stuck knowing that I cannot influence my world more than this experiment, this dating within. To have more influence, I would have had to go into the questionable worlds again, right? I would have had to be some sort of mad scientist instead of just a scientist for myself to feel like I am creating enough uh, turbulence. Influence, right? I've been influenced. I got influenced by the internet hard. I am the way I am because of the influence in part. When I was 14, my parents bought me my first cell phone. Well, technically, when I was 13, they bought me my first cell phone. It was a BlackBerry Curve. It had a QWERTY keyboard, full full physical keyboard with a little square trackpad. And with this cell phone, I got something. I got a SIM card that had something called BIS on it. So BlackBerry partnered with our South African infrastructure. So I don't know if some of you friends watched that BlackBerry documentary on Netflix, but that gives you some context that BlackBerry was like the global cell phone leader. And then iPhone came along and completely revolutionized the game. So South Africa being a little bit more of a third world, catching up with the first world country. Our infrastructure was still very much geared towards the BlackBerry kind of use case when iPhones was really taking off. So the iPhone was a thing when I was a 13-year-old, but it wasn't something that a 13-year-old would be given as a gift. Some kids did get iPhones. I was not one of those kids. So they had this whole promotional bundle where you could get a BlackBerry Curve and BlackBerry Internet Service, which was unlimited internet data. You could use the internet unlimitedly. You could download all the songs, you could scroll all of the 9gag, you could do whatever you wanted to. Google to your heart's content. And it was $5 a month. Me, as an entity on planet Earth, gained access to a computer with a physical QWERTY keyboard, with a mouse pad that I could user interface with, and infinite internet access. No data restrictions whatsoever. For $5 a month. What? What? What the fuck? Right? How is that real? And that influenced me. That changed me. And I wasn't the only one. Because of this deal being so good, pretty much every kid had a Curve, a BlackBerry Curve, right? Pretty much every single kid. It had like a 65, if not 75% penetration rate with my peers. So everybody had one of these. And there was BBM, BlackBerry Messenger, which is like a WhatsApp or iMessage competitor. I think it's pretty dead right now. But it was good. You could see what songs people were listening to on their status bar, and it would give you something to talk about. You could see someone listening to something and you could send them a message about it. And that influenced the way that I started talking to people. It influenced the words I chose to use. And then I could see in my peers how they chose to use these pieces of technology as well. Obviously, pornography was a big problem instantly among my peers. And at that point of my life, I, coming from a very strict Christian background, took great pride in not using my technology for these nefarious purposes. To the point where people would send me links, and in my naivetisms would open these links to be met with shock, right? And to exit out of these images as fast as I possibly could. And then to be stuck, thinking about them and to be influenced by them, in large part. Things so insignificant, right? $5 a month. $5 a month forever influenced my life. And it will continue to forever influence my life. I am the technomancer I am because of that BlackBerry Curve in part. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to me. Strictly protect our natural medicines. This sounds good. Strictly they protect our natural medicines. Yeah. It's illegal to pick wild ginseng in many places here too. It's just crazy when you think about it. Impermissible. Melty, I hear you, man. I was like, I know stuff too. Lol. I'm back with pizza, taking a break. What did I cause? We've been having cool conversations. I feel at least. We're talking about technology right now and access to technology from a young age and how that influences us. That's at least what I think we're talking about. Dang, now I want pizza. Melty, some of us are old enough to remember AOL dial-up and LiveJournal homepages. I hate people who forward prawn. Like, I don't need to know what you're not doing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, bro. Like, this is not what I want in my life right now. How about you don't? How about I was maintaining? How about I was establishing? How about I was creating? No, there's a certain word I'm looking for. Occupying. How about I was occupying a state of serenity, and then you interrupted that state of serenity. Just popping in to say hello, lovelies. Hello. Zano. It's nice having you here. That seems like a strange relationship. It's true. Look at us. We have shown up for a whole hour. Goodness. That takes some commitment. I feel like I was pretty conversational today. I hope you friends appreciated the things I tried to influence in you. I know I can be a little bit abrasive sometimes. That is melting. Trippy filter. Yay. Yeah, it is trippy filter day. I was seeing the sun shining onto the lens, and it was creating this like white shimmeriness on the content. And I thought that maybe if I add psychedelic filter, it will turn the white shimmer into color. And that would be better than just white shimmer, because Sam doesn't like it when the light shines into the lens. Is this better? Ew! Cards. Send your mind's eyes projections onto this deck of cards in front of you. Tell me stop with your mind's inner voice, and I will do so. Green? I don't know if this one has much green in it. Oh, some green. A little bit of green. A little bit. This is the card we pulled the first time Javan pulled a card when she came here to South Africa. The transformation card. Feels very apt. Purple. There is a bunch of purple in there. That's the green I was talking about. Wait. You see there's a little bit of green right there. Transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level. Deep healing is occurring. Have a lovely afternoon and evening, my friends. Try to recognize how very blessed we truly are, even if it's just for a moment. One of the things that I like to do, Duck Dad, and there's 11 friends watching right now, so it feels extra apt, is I have an alarm on my phone for 11:11. And alongside that alarm is in capital text, receive abundance. And then when 11:11 comes, I'll take it as a moment to receive abundance. And receiving abundance very much just looks like acknowledging all of this you have around you and the fact that it's actively flowing into your system, right? Like when you look at a beautiful 800-year-old tree, the value of you having that experience is in it existing as it is, right? You chopping it down and taking that tree back home with you wouldn't be valuable. It wouldn't be what you want. Wouldn't be the abundance of this experience that you want to take, right? So in my mind, receiving abundance very much looks like just acknowledging that you have everything. It's all yours, right? And yet none of it is. Thank you for receiving this abundance with me too. You literally stopped when I said it out loud. You too, Pojo. Much love. My fingers are too fast to type. Fidge, you can call me lover if you want. Much lover. Much lover. Lover is much true. Much appreciated, bro. My 5G brain must have altered the algorithm as you popped up out of nowhere today. Always appreciate your wisdom and insight. Made my day. Peace, my friend. Rob. It's very nice of you to say, bro. You have influenced me. I'm so happy to influence you in a positive way. Thank you for sharing this moment with us, for appreciating this conversation. Sorry, I'm willing to admit some sort of error in my schisms as well when it comes to driving a point home too hard sometimes. My new name is Much Lover. I was scrolling through past streams the other day, and the stream of Jovan had double the views. I was like, I was also like, Jovan has this whole, I want to say the word insecurity, but I don't know if that's the right word. It's more like a mindfulness, a concern, a apprehension to, yeah, being on my streams, because in her own words, she doesn't want to take over my stream, right? And I mentioned to her that that's not something that I am too concerned with, one, and two, and it was in this conversation as we were driving from my parents' place to Monte Cassino, that the fact that she's on the stream means that there are more people willing to tune into my space as opposed to less people. So that if she was concerned with taking over my stream, it would be a good thing, right? So the fact that you're also recognizing the fact, feels synchronous to me, Nancy. Much lover. Bless you, bro. Jovan is captivating. People are drawn into her energies. This is true. She used to do Arpan streams of her own. Hopefully they'll bring that back so we can do more stuff like that. Joe fit perfectly into the stream. It was lovely to have her around for the few days. So nice. I hope that she sees these messages. She might not be here right now, but I'm taking a screenshot and sending it to her. Let's love on Jovan. Yay! Yay! I'm sending her your friends is loving messages. Plus, she's cute as a button. Also true. Also, these things are all true. So is love. So are you, right? The fact that you literally have influence on this world. What can be more true than that? Transforming on a cellular level. Did Toasty come through for a Jovan stream? No, he didn't. We did end up talking a bunch about him though, Gabby Goose. So, like, he was there in mind at the very least. Word Joe, Jovan is hella cute. So much love. I don't think we saw Toasty in chat. He could have been lurking though. I think he's just raising child right now. He probably has his hands very full. Gab, she was just in South Africa for a week. Well, a little bit longer than a week, but basically just a week. All right. Reading what this card has to say. This, again, feels very synchronous to me because this is the first card we pulled when Jovan came through. And it might have been on a Saturday. It might have actually been on a Saturday. I think it was the first day that we went to Sharon's place. So a full week later. No. Full 2 weeks. A full 2 weeks later. We're pulling this card again. You are changing at a cellular level. You are not who you were just a year ago, or who you will soon be. Keep doing the work, for you are in between, emerging, half risen, half falling. You are transforming. You will look back at this time with awe. So much is happening in your inner world and within your cells. It is time to release old ways of being that have kept you in fight, flight, freeze mode. To choose a new way of being where trauma is not the driving force. Old childhood patterns are rising up to be healed. As you allow yourself to observe them and feel them without attachment, they loosen their grip and fall away. You are being called to find new ways to self-soothe. Saturn and the Black Madonna and the African goddess Oshun influence this card. Saturn represents destruction and transformation. The Black Madonna represents the underground and all that has been cast aside, and Oshun represents the tender love of the original mother. A rethreading is happening, healing at the deepest of levels. While you are in this phase, don't put yourself under pressure to perform. A little bird just came and said hello. You may need to review your relationship with your body, perhaps even shifting your diet or exercise regime, or getting energetic healing support. You may also need to consider some kind of emotional support, as issues from your childhood may come up to be healed. You are deeply loved. Place this card on your heart and say, I allow us to receive the deepest healing and transformation for change to happen at a cellular level. For us to change. We did talk about ourselves quite a bit today, right? For change to happen at a cellular level. Must be my card. I am changing my cellular provider. Does that count? I think it counts, bro. Changing on a cellular level. God, she was in South Africa just for a week. It's true. Maula was here too for a moment. What a pleasure. I really, like big bunches, enjoyed this stream. You friends influence me. It's true. I hope you know that. Thank you for being a good influence on my life, for having changed my existence, for realizing with me that as little as $5 a month can change someone's world. I don't know if you can afford a cell phone contract for $5 a month anymore. I wonder. Let's see. Just for interest sake. Let's do Telkom. That's with who I am right now, and I've had this number for a very long time. Let's see if we can find a really cheap deal. I mean, these are really nice phones. I don't think I want one that nice. No, I want you to tell me your cheap stuff. Tell me your real cheap stuff. Marketplace deals. Online exclusives. Mobile connectivity. Summer deals. Is this the cheapest I can go? 330 Rand. So for $15, you can get a touchscreen, a Samsung A35. Has a selfie camera, has a, is that 6 inches? 5 inches? 5-inch touchscreen, has 5G connectivity. You get 2 gigabytes of anytime data, 75 minutes of all net minutes, and 500 minutes of direct between Telkom to Telkom. This device is 128 gigs of storage. Yeah, 6.6-inch screen. 120 hertz refresh rate as well. So in my mind, you can get things for cheaper. 5,000 milliamp battery. This is a good phone for $15 a month. Yeah, what a world we live in. It's kind of sick. It's kind of cool. And I don't think those are the cheapest I could have found. View all? Hey, there we go. There are cheaper ones. For $10, give or take, you can get something equivalent. I don't know if they give you anything else. They just give you the cell phone. Yeah, you don't get any data or stuff, but still 6.6-inch screen, fast charging, 5,000 milliamp battery, 50 megapixel camera. For $10 a month, yo. It's not $5. Still, the Black Madonna. I don't hear that term very often. It holds a very specific intent. Hey Google, can you tell me the spiritual significance of the Black Madonna? The Black Madonna is connected with miracles, representing her ties to ancient goddesses or pre-Christian traditions. She is often associated with ancient goddesses of fertility, motherhood, and the earth, as well as with cycles of nature. There you go. More context. I watched an episode of Cosmos last night, and Carl Sagan was talking about cellular changes throughout the years. It reminded me of that card. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate those synchronicities. Words are powerful, and suggestive statements can sway the entire focus of the card's message. It landed heavy with me. That's all. Move on over, Meld. You want to come and sit here next to me? I'll make some space for you. I wonder if CMEs affect us on a cellular level. I think we just received one of the, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, but we just received one of the biggest solar flares from our star as well. We are semiconductors. It affects our magnetic fields. There we go. Love is true. Thank you, friends, for joining me again today. I hope you have the most beautiful day, one filled with splendor, one filled with hope, one filled with a genuine sense of influence, realizing that you do have the ability to influence people, that you have this ability to influence your own life, your own actions, your own future, and that you will apply this influence wisely to the fact, to the extreme, to the point where you can believe that the future you are creating is going to be good for you, and you having influenced your own life is going to be good for those around you, and you having influenced their lives, and is going to be good for each other, where that influence of each other's lives means that we'll also appreciate and value each other in the futures that we're going into. I love you. I hope you have a beautiful day. Happy Navratri, a big 9-day Hindu goddess fest. Ooh, feeling extra synchronous. Have a great night, everyone. Melt, have a glass of vino on me. Totally. I'm totally going to do that. Love yous. I appreciate you, friends. Thank you for the influence that you have on my life. See you again tomorrow. Goodbye. Cheers.